if the guy who likes action anime liked this episode. You freaking know I loved this episode. This was the best episode of Akame Got Killed thus far. There were twists, there were turns, there were a ton of action scenes, there were massive dinosauric skeletal beasts, there were big bulbous frogs that swallow things and freaking dissolve them in its acid stomach. There was a dude with a flamethrower, there was a dude with a riot shield, there was a dude with a whip, there was a chick with 2 guns, there were swords, there was explosions, there was armor, there was badassery. This episode was awesome! So if you're wondering, yes, I liked this week's episode of Akame Got Killed. It was pretty freaking incredible. All the different members of Night Raid got to do something awesome. All of Kuromi's puppets were incredible and inventive. And not only that, but there were a few twists and turns that I did not expect. It looks like some members of Night Raid and the Jaegers look like they might actually get killed, and some of them even get their limbs chopped off. I know I'm not the only one who freaked out when they saw frickin' Kuromi come out of nowhere and suddenly cut off Leonie's arm. That was messed up, and I was really hoping that because of her weird animalistic abilities, she might be able to grow her arm back, because when she started to flex her arm to stop the bleeding, I thought she was going to pull a Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and that's when she eventually joins Akame against the battle against Bowls and this one riot shield using guy. And the battle here is just as intense as everything, and I almost thought that Bowls was going to die in this episode, especially after he had his Imperial arms ripped to pieces by Leonie. However, he has this other plan which actually ends this week's episode, where he sends his massive backpack into the sky and is about to hit the switch, which is going to cause a massive explosion ending this week's episode. But that's just one of the incredible fight scenes from this week's episode. You also have some Tatsumi action. Tatsumi is fighting against this one zombified ape-man who looks like this big, like, werewolf gorilla creature, and it's just awesome just seeing him fight against this thing. But his real opponent is actually this one creepy guy wearing a cloak and this mask, and according to Kuromi, it's his pride and joy, and she had a tough time actually killing this guy. But it's actually Chelsea who takes this guy out by actually sneaking up on him and tricking him by wearing this weird outfit, which I'm guessing she's using to play at this guy's emotions. And she just takes him out with a single, like, prick to the freaking face with this needle. It's so awesome, and it came out of nowhere. And it's just great to see them working together, and it's pretty obvious that Chelsea has the hots for Tatsumi. The other cool battles this week is there's this one zombie with this whip who kind of reminds me of Simon Belmont from Castlevania, in particular the brand new design they've actually created for him, and he's going up against an agenda, and that's because they actually have some sort of past with each other. There's one small, quick little flashback, but they don't really get into their real history all that much, and Najenda, awesome this week. She's basically a bionic commando because she can fire her arm and use it as a grappling hook, and she literally kicks this dude's head off. And even when he's still alive and kicking, she kicks him up into the air and hits him with a massive punch from her arm. So Najenda is badass. The other fight this week that's really important, though, is with Kuromi and her other puppet who goes by the name of Natala. Natala is a good friend of both Kuromi and Akame, so I can't imagine where they're going with this, but he kicks all sort of ass this week. When he's not defending her, he's firing his spear like a freaking gun across the battlefield. It's really freaking impressive. Mine gets swallowed by this massive beastly frog, which has this corrosive stomach acid, but she's able to plow herself out, and that's when a few of the other members come together and they're getting ready to fight against Kuromi. But I think one of the coolest moments from this week's episode, without a doubt, has to come from Susanoo. Holy crap, his secret ability is so awesome looking. So when he's actually synced up perfectly with an agenda, he's able to feed off of her life energy, and that powers him up, and he changes drastically. He has this almost armored looking muscle skin, he has this weird almost like circular mirror type object on his back, and this pretty much just increases his power like tenfold. He's a god at this point, and he takes out this massive danger beast with just a few awesome swipes of this massive sword, which he just summons from the energy from his body. It's really incredible, and I honestly didn't expect it to go that way, and I love how easily he was able to take out this big beast, which had the ability to literally blow the landscapes away with its massive beam powers. So that's just a few of the incredible moments from this week's episode of Akame Got Killed. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Akame Got Killed? It was awesome, guys. I loved it. I cannot stress that enough. I don't even have to give the score this week. It's perfect. It's a 5 out of 5. It was handled well. The pacing was great. The tension was amazing. There was a lot of gore and action. The action was inventive, and a lot of stuff I couldn't predict at all, and I'm really glad that they held off on showing us what those weird zombies were going to be like in the last episode. They only showed the big monster, and they showed them all in silhouette. By doing that, I was really surprised when I got to see a lot of their abilities this week, and I was kind of hoping maybe it would last a little longer. A lot of them did get defeated very quickly. However, that was sort of the trade-off. Like, they kept going from action scene to action scene. There was even a scene where Esdeath ran into this group of bandits who are clearly about to get their shit rocked. I would like to see more backstory from Kuromi's puppets, but I don't know how long they can actually hang around with those guys, and I'm actually kind of curious as to how many zombies she can use at one time, like if she has like a limit to how many she can bring out at a certain period, or how many she can actually keep in her collection. She even says that if she kills all of Night Raid, she'll consider making all of them puppets of hers, so it's pretty much implied that she can have almost an unlimited number of dead bodies to use, and obviously she wants to go after strong people who have these crazy weapons and abilities. Otherwise, there were just too many good moments to count. I am a little disappointed, though, that Lubbock didn't really get to do anything aside from hang out in a tree this week and contemplate thinking about confessing his love to Najenda if they get out of this thing alive. But hopefully in the next episode, he'll get to do a little bit more. And I like the fact that they're intentionally keeping Akame and Kuromi from each other, because I don't think this is going to be the end of their confrontation. I think Kuromi's a character who's probably going to stick around in the story for a long period of time. And then you have the character of Bowles, who I honestly thought was just going to be killed immediately this week after his Imperial Arms weapon was destroyed by Leone. I thought that Akame was just going to jump in and cut his damn head off, but that didn't happen. His actual bodyguard, who didn't even look like a very strong character, actually had some really cool abilities and was able to help out in the battle with Bowles. And I found that very strange when I was watching the episode, and I mentioned that before, since there isn't like a true villain of the series. Like, even when Bowles was being attacked and like had his weapon destroyed, my first thought was, oh crap, Bowles is about to be killed! No! I literally said no to myself, and that made me realize that I like the villain characters just as much as I like the hero characters. And I really shouldn't call them villains either. They're just characters in general. Some of them are a little more insane than the others. Otherwise, this episode was a full package in every way. The action was good, the animation was good, the artwork was good, the voice acting was awesome, the music cues were great, there was a lot of shocks, twists, and surprises. You should watch this episode if you're a fan of Akame ga Kill anime series, or if you've just been following the manga version, check out this episode. It was just damn awesome and fan service for fans of the show. It really gives me a lot of high hopes for the rest of this series and this franchise. I don't know if the first season is going to just continuously go, if they're going to end after like 25, 26 episodes. If they do that, as long as they continue to do second seasons and more in the future, I'm happy, because I want to see more from this franchise. The more episodes come out, the more I really start to like this one a lot. It started out as what I thought was going to be the most generic anime of the season, and it's slowly becoming one of my favorite action anime of all time, and you should definitely check it out, because it's just plain badass. This week's episode is a 5 out of 5. It's awesome. Check it out, guys. Thank you guys for watching my video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Before you guys leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Akame ga Kill. Did you have a favorite action scene, a favorite puppet that Kuromi is using, and what do you want to see from the rest of the Akame ga Kill anime series? Also, before you guys leave, please subscribe to our channel if you have not already. You can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.